Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. I'm glad that you could join us tonight. It's actually been 2 weeks now. Yeah. We took a little bit of a break with the Thanksgiving holiday and everything, so I'm glad that we could be back together. Again, as you can see, the studio is a little bit different tonight because we're actually broadcasting from Mike's place, who's my guest again tonight. Mm-hmm. It's a little cold in my shed.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, my bunker.
Excuse the bunker.
Me. Yeah.
No parkas necessary. Yeah. We're wearing t-shirts.
Yeah, it's a little heated.
We got
some heat around here somewhere. All right, so topics tonight. We got some juicy topics to go over. Cards Against Humanity continues to bring people together, just not in the fun family get-together kind of way, more like an open borders promotion kind of way. Lena Dunham's writer, a black female, quits because the super progressive, ultra lovable lesbian is a racist. Amazon's Alexa, not to be outdone, has a lot to say about the Prophet Muhammad and Islam. Jesus Christ, not so much. Yeah. Rand Paul's wife has a blistering message to the mainstream media that they seem to want to brush her husband's attack under the rug. Meanwhile, Eminem, that guy you only recently remembered because he threw down a hot, and by hot I actually mean hot as a garbage fire, freestyle attack on the president, well, now he's mad that the president hasn't acknowledged his childish behavior.
Yeah. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
Because President Trump acknowledges
everything. Matt Lauer and Al Franken are the newest members to the Sexual Harassment for Men Club. And our main topic tonight, Senator Elizabeth Warren is done with President Trump's antics, calling her Pocahontas. We will hear what an actual descendant of Pocahontas has to say about the racial slur. And The Daily Show's Trevor Noah goes on the attack in regards to Trump's nickname. Yet I don't think we'll be seeing our liberal counterparts sharing that clip too much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We talk about those topics and more. This is the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. Hey everyone, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm glad that you could be here. If you're watching right now live, you are watching on Facebook Live, which you can actually get notifications for when we go live, just like any of your favorite programs out there, Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, all of them.
Yeah.
Everyone out there. All you have to do is head over to the Generation Y Conservative fan page on Facebook, hit the like button, and then go to get notifications so you could be notified when we go live. You can also see at the bottom of your screen right now that there's a YouTube channel. I encourage you to head over to that as well and click on the subscribe button and the bell to get notifications when videos go live. We, besides the podcast and me cutting it up and putting out some good parts of it and everything, we do movie reviews. And the last movie review that we did was Thor, which you will not find on the YouTube channel yet because I'm still in the process of editing it.
Yeah.
It was great. Go see it. We had some fun things to say about it, and I'll edit in some really funny parts into the review as well. But you can find those types of videos on there as well. And we'll get back to movie reviews in just one second. You can also find me on Twitter at GenYConservative without the E on the end. You can interact with me there as well. And if you're interested in listening to the audio-only portion of this while at work or working out, or don't look at me for working out, but you can also find me Sundays. They rebroadcast this podcast from 3 to 6 p.m. on KLRN Internet Radio. And they have also graciously put me onto their iTunes account. So if you search in the iTunes podcasts, all you have to do is search for the Generation Y Conservative, and it'll actually show up as the Generation Y Conservative by KLRN Internet Radio. And you can subscribe to the podcast there as well. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, thank you again for everything, obviously, for a heated place to go to while it's getting into the winter months here.
I'm just as grateful.
Yeah. If you caught last week's episode, he was in a coat, gloves, we're sitting there, like, just
couldn't feel my toes by the end.
It was so bad.
And then it's like, we got to do the Thor review too. We got to do the Thor review.
And that went quick.
Yeah.
We didn't even do the spoiler zone on that one. We're like, just go see it.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about that, though, You have now seen Justice League 3 times.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not going to get to do a review on that. By the time we get around to it, it's going to be a little too late. But why don't you do a quick review of it?
So, yeah, I saw it 3 times, so obviously I didn't like it that much.
No, not at all.
No, as you know, I'm a big DC guy, right? And I've been let down a lot by the DC cinematic universe.
My expectations are low on this movie.
Considering, you know, the history of the storytelling of DC Comics, and Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, like 3 of the most, you know, iconic superheroes there are.
Yep.
And really, before the Marvel universe, I mean, movies were all DC. DC was all the movies. Yep. You know, the Michael Keaton Batmans, the Christopher Nolan Batmans, Superman, Christopher Reeve. So, Justice League was... Well, it had its... Like, the story wasn't, like, the most elaborate story, right? And the villain wasn't the best villain in the world. Okay. It was leading into Darkseid, who's the main, like, big bad of the DC universe. But the great thing that I thought about Justice League was the characters and just how they kind of, like, interacted with each other. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'd love to see a much better Superman movie, but I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I'd love to see a much better...
So does my wife.
Yeah, right. So does mine, too. I appreciate that he represents hairy-chested men really well.
Yeah, true.
So that's good. I'd love to see a much better Batman movie, but I love Affleck as Batman. And same thing with
that might be ending pretty quickly.
I know,
though,
but you know what, though? Considering what they're doing with how he's been Batman for 20 years, I wouldn't be surprised if they did like a prequel-ish.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Never mind. I was hoping for a Nightwing.
Oh, that would be great, too.
Yeah.
That would be great, too. So, but yeah, the characters were great. Wonder Woman was still awesome. She's just like... Gal Gadot
great
is
actress.
Perfect. Yeah, she's great actress.
Yeah.
But she's perfect as Wonder Woman.
As an actress.
Which is amazing. I would like the Aquaman.
Watch what we're saying in today's world. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I know, right? So
calm down, Lauer.
Yeah, right? So Aquaman was great. I'll tell you, the one thing, Flash, I thought was like, he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But... you know, I mean, when I have Barry Allen from the TV show in my head, you know, and
exactly.
I just
That's
think it's a different take, you know, and it was good, but just
he's quirky.
Yeah, and he made a bunch of jokes, and 90% of them were funny, but there were a few duds in there, you know. Yeah. But I'll tell you what.
Ezra Miller, right?
Yeah, Ezra Miller. So I guess this is minor spoilery. So spoiler warning, but not really, because most people know that Superman is in the movie. I know, right? I mean, you can't have Justice League without Superman.
Wasn't in the trailer. I didn't know.
Superman was freaking awesome.
Yeah?
He was freaking awesome. Like, finally, a Superman that didn't act like Batman. You know, Man of Steel was brooding, dark, upset, and same with Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Superman, smile on his face, talking about hope and, you know, thing, and the use of his powers were awesome. Now... There were a couple of parts of his CG that looked like kind of...
Oh, he was a CG... you mentioned to me that there was some bad CG in it. Yeah. I thought you were leaning towards Cyborg.
Yeah, no, Cyborg actually looked awesome.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Cyborg looked awesome. Superman had a few parts where he kind of looked like Agent Smith from the Matrix movies. Agent Smith, you know, or Neo.
No, who looked
Superman.
like him?
Superman.
Oh, okay.
Did I say Cyborg?
No. I just...
Yeah. But for the most part, it was okay. But then he also had the upper lip CGI, which I'm sure you heard about, right?
The mustache?
Yeah. So, basically, the Mission Impossible people want to just be jerks. It's much easier to put on a fake mustache than it is to CGI one out with, like, literally 2 months until the movie comes out.
Yeah.
And one thing that I read was...
Mission Impossible?
Yeah, he's doing a Mission Impossible movie, and he has a mustache.
Is he the bad guy?
I don't know.
Oh,
it would be more twirly, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't very twirly.
So okay. So let's jump ahead here. What kind of score are you giving this?
I would give it a good 9 out of 10 for me. But for the average person, I could see 7.5 to 8.
Okay. Right.
It just had enough of the geeky, like, oh my god, Superman did that. That was good for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's a good time at the movies for sure. And if you can see it in IMAX, see it in IMAX because it was shot in IMAX, so it takes up the whole screen. And I also heard that the visual effects actually look worse on some of the standard theaters than they do in IMAX because IMAX everything just kind of looks and sounds a lot better too. So
okay. So listen, every month we spotlight a charity, and I feel a little bad since we skipped 2 weeks here. for this charity, so I really want to encourage you to at least go over to the website and check this out. This month's charity that we've been spotlighting is Team Rubicon. Now, Team Rubicon is actually an organization of veterans from all different military branches that come together in times of need and disaster. When disaster strikes with natural disasters or wildfires, anything like that. That was what were we talking about there?
I forget what.
It was California wildfires, and there was the whole thing, the brushes that they didn't clear.
The biggest ones like that I remember: wildfires and capsize.
Yeah, capsize. So Team Rubicon. What I want to do is just set that up because I actually have another video in regards to them, so I want to show that, and we'll get into the podcast right after this.
Disaster strike. At one point or another, they strike everywhere. There's no corner of this great nation impervious to disaster. Earthquake, fire, flood, tornado, hurricane, blizzard. It's a fact of life in America. More so lately. The waters rise higher, the winds lash with more force, and fires scatter the landscape like fireflies in a field. As a nation, we prepare, we brace, we emerge from the storm, and we get to work. Our communities are no strangers to hardship. Ours is a nation built by men and women of true grit and strength forged in the fires of challenge. Team Rubicon's community is built on these same principles, further hardened with an indomitable spirit of selflessness that led many of us to serve our nation before. It brings us to the front lines again, to dig in deep, stare disaster in the face and say, "You may knock us down, but you will not break us. This community will rise again, and we will be here to help lift it. We are your disaster response team. We are Team Rubicon."
So again, that's teamrubiconusa.org. Head over there. If you're a veteran and you're interested in volunteering with them, you can always find ways to sign up through that as well. If you're not a veteran but you're interested in helping, head over to the website and find out how you can donate any type of resources that are available to that organization to help them out. I really encourage that. And again, it sucks I had to cut it off by 2 weeks because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but it's an awesome organization. Yep. Probably one of the more interesting ones that we've spotlighted so far. Okay, so let's get to the first topic. So GQ, the magazine, profiled how to ruin Thanksgiving for Trump voters, saying it's your civic duty. Okay. So they said this year, if you're headed home to a household that still thinks a sex-offending game show host in rapid cognitive decline was the best choice for president, it's your civic duty to filibuster Thanksgiving. They give a couple ways on how you can do that, too. It's kind of a little checklist that they give. They said, number one, don't show up. That also includes your parents if they're hosting. Not just that crazy uncle who wears his MAGA hat in the shower. They write, for some parents, your absence will speak louder than any sodden arguments over the density of pumpkin pie. If you can't even look them in the eye, they'll know you mean business. Besides, Friendsgiving rules.
I think the parents would probably be more happy that they didn't come.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the disappointment. They're already disappointed in you.
Yeah, I know.
Just don't show up. Maybe they'll be happy.
Yeah.
Number two, show up and be kind of an a-hole. Rather than make your parents sad by just being absent, make them wonder where they went wrong by being a total jerk instead. No hugs, only stiff, formal handshakes. During the football game, talk about police brutality nonstop. Take any opportunity to emphasize just how much Bruce Springsteen and the entire E Street Band loathes Trump. Come out as an aspiring professional DJ.
Can I say that just by these examples, they even realize how annoying those
liberals
things are.
True. Very true. Number three, scorched earth. In short, pull no punches. Make every moment of Thanksgiving a living, breathing hell for your family, raising political positions at every moment and insulting them if they tune you out. Not even a handshake, just stare disgustingly at their outstretched arms. Here are some creative tips that they provided. build a wall out of mashed potatoes. Well, at least you believe in building a wall.
Yeah,
there.
sure.
During the football game, order 10 Papa John pizzas, the official foodstuff of the alt-right, and then use them as pie charts to demonstrate who benefits most from the GOP tax plan. Now, there's a problem here. Pie charts and stuff involve statistics, which is an enemy of the left. They don't like they don't like facts or statistics to back up things, so they would be very confused. Know what to do with it. Yeah, they would. What do I do?
Yeah, what's a pie chart?
Yeah, refuse to be alone in a room with your mom, citing the Mike Pence rule.
If only more people cited the Mike Pence rule.
We wouldn't be having the trouble we're having right now. Call your parents by a Donald Trump nickname of your choosing. Perhaps Little Rocket Mom or Little Dad. I don't know where that one comes from.
I don't know.
I like Little Rocket Mom.
Yeah, that's
pretty
awesome.
Badass.
Mm-hmm.
Insist on setting a place for Robert Mueller, the way Jews do for Elijah on Passover.
It's ridiculous.
Wear a coal miner hat for solidarity. I'm guessing union type stuff or something.
I guess.
Punch a cornucopia right in the mouth. You have it. Okay, good. They said, speaking of the... So, any further thoughts on that at all?
I mean, they really get what's annoying about liberals.
Yes.
They do. Because they wouldn't come up with these examples if they didn't.
It's almost like, first of all, do they really care about holidays anymore? Because everything's offensive.
Everything's offensive.
I mean, there was actually a video put out by Now This, I think it was, of like a couple Indian women, right, sitting behind a Thanksgiving spread, right, and them talking about how Thanksgiving was the murder of their people and a celebration of, all this bad stuff, and how we celebrate Thanksgiving the wrong way. Number one, watch Monumental. They're completely wrong.
Yeah.
Number two, these women were pretty large. They looked like they had enjoyed a Thanksgiving spread before the second course on this one. So, I'm just saying.
Just saying. Yeah, so, I saw a bunch of stuff about everybody saying Thanksgiving was offensive and all that. I'm just like...
They have no idea.
You're having a good time with your family. You're just ruining having a good time. Thanksgiving, personally, is my favorite holiday.
It's up there.
It's my favorite, by far, because it's not about giving gifts. It's not about commercializing stuff.
True.
It's just spending time with your family and being thankful for the blessings that you have, and
for being able to have the freedom to sit down at a table with food that isn't food that is rationed to you.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep. Football's
get
on.
that in your socialized country. See what they give you.
It's crazy.
As soon as you start carving into one of those turkeys, the air deflates out of it.
Yeah, right. So it's everything's offensive now. Every holiday's offensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I'm back and forth between Thanksgiving and Christmas, like we are right now. And I think it's the nut tussies that send me over for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. With the powdered sugar on top.
Yeah.
That'll get me every time.
See, for me, it's what pushes me Thanksgiving's way is my grandmother's stuffing.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Stuffing's good. Yeah.
So.
I'm a stuffing fan. Okay, so speaking of building a wall like they did with the mashed potatoes there, Cards Against Humanity. You ever play that?
We talked about it because you had it in the bunker last time I was there. Yeah, I played it once a long time ago, but it's been forever.
It is, I have to say, it's a fantastic game. It is funny.
I thought about that because you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, and then I saw this story, and I was like, oh man, now he's got to throw away his Cards Against Humanity game.
Nope. No. I'm not a liberal.
Keep it out of spite.
I don't protest things.
And boycott things.
Yeah, and boycott. Yeah, exactly. So, Cards Against Humanity bought an area of the U.S. border to prevent Trump from building his wall there. And their theory behind this is that it's going to get caught up in litigation in regards to eminent domain, and that's going to tie things up long enough that it won't ever get built. At least by his administration, right? So my thoughts on the process.
I have a thought too.
Okay, all right. So you have the border going, right, and it suddenly hits this property, right? My thought is, build the fence around that property and leave it on the Mexican side. Yeah,
that was my thought too. Just build around it. Put them on the Mexico side. Done.
Yep. See ya. Yep. Spend some extra money and do that just out of spite.
Yep.
That would make me completely happy on that one.
Yep.
They said if you voted for Trump...
Oh, we can't get back in.
They said if you voted for Trump, you might want to sit this one out. The company behind the game that involves matching cards with humorously offensive phrases announced it had bought a piece of land on the U.S.-Mexico border with the explicit aim of hindering Mr. Trump's signature policy promise. They said, we've purchased a plot of vacant land on the border and retained a law firm specializing in eminent domain to make it as time-consuming and expensive as possible for the wall to get built. They also said in an advertising for a holiday promotion that would send a map of the land to people who buy in. Mm-hmm. Alarm bells are ringing in my head on that one.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me more like this is a marketing ploy than an actual policy disagreement.
Protest,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you buy in on this, we're going to donate towards the land, and you get a map of that. And by the way, we're your favorite card company, so you get all this. So it's Christmas time.
Yeah,
they do it right at the end of the year. Come on.
Yeah,
this is a marketing.
It's also
ploy.
like, hey, we have this great, we have this thing we're really passionate about. Not passionate about it enough to pay for it all by ourselves.
Yeah.
So, some help here. Otherwise, we don't care that much.
Yeah, exactly. So I told you my idea on.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking too. Build it right around, put them on the Mexico side.
So probably desert down there where the border is and everything. Well, there's another something else going on out in the desert.
You could enclose them.
Just completely fence it off? Oh my gosh. Then they can't use it at all. Oh, that was funny. So here's another thing. If you're heading out into the desert, you might run into a guy called Mad Mike.
Yep.
Not you. No,
Not me this time.
It's another Mike. He plans on launching a rocket in the desert with him inside to prove that the Earth is flat. Okay, he's a flat earther. So I took a clip from the news clip to show you who this guy is, okay? So here we go.
If you drove to a ghost town with a population of 4 people in the middle of nowhere, California, you'd find a rocket and a daredevil pilot.
Let me just leave that down like that, huh?
With strong beliefs and no parachute.
Yeah, I'm the captain. I'm going down with the ship. Because it's safer that way.
The plan one day is space, because he wants to prove all his critics wrong about planet Earth.
It probably looks more like a Frisbee, okay, with turned up edges. Now the edge, which keeps all the oceans in, is a 150-foot ice wall, which is Antarctica.
It turns out he won't get high enough to be able to prove anything with this launch, except that hopefully he could survive 500 miles an hour.
Well, you should be in a G-suit. You should be taking oxygen and everything else, I would think.
And that's what you're doing?
No. No, this is one of these kind of stunts where it's kind of like, here, honey, hold my beer and watch this. This is the ultimate one.
Last time this former limo driver tried something like this was in 2014. He was only going 350 an hour, but broke his kneecap and never went to the hospital.
People ask me, you got insurance? No. You got a big bank account? No, I don't even have a bank account.
Do you have a will?
Somewhat of a will, yeah. It's kind of haphazard, you know? Yeah. Which is probably not smart.
He admits he doesn't have much of anything except passion and years of hard work.
I do not claim to be an expert in anything, okay? Not even at launching rockets.
He hopes that takes him far enough.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
That is Mad Mike right there for you. Yeah. So, number one, I noticed some things because of my wife being in the news, right? The extra footage, the B-roll, I guess she calls it, or something like that, which she'll probably end up commenting under there. They keep on cutting away to him shoveling. It's just like him taking the point of the shovel going, ting, ting, ting. Like he's not really shoveling anything. He's not putting the dirt on the stuff.
Yeah.
This guy, okay. Do you have insurance? No.
I don't have a bank account.
Yeah.
I got a haphazard will.
He's like, they talk about, they say you should definitely have oxygen. You have oxygen? No. And he's like, I don't claim to be that smart. I don't even know about rockets. Like, oh my God, dude.
It's just one of those projects where you say, honey, hold my beer, and let's see how it goes.
So this guy
is the ultimate one.
We're not even getting to his flat earth theory yet. Yeah. This guy is a mess. This guy is a total mess. I mean, on top of this guy knows nothing about rockets, right? He builds one. He builds a freaking rocket.
It's his second one.
Yeah.
He's already built one and gone 350 miles an hour and broke his kneecap and didn't go to the hospital. So how do you build one rocket and still not know anything about rockets?
Yes. But on top of that too, he's oh my gosh, what was he saying? He said that it was right in the end there too, but he's gonna launch himself, right? Mm-hmm. And he was planning on now they're saying he's not gonna get up high enough to prove the flat earth theory and everything, which we'll get back to.
He would never get high enough to prove that.
Listen, he's high enough.
Yeah.
Trust me, without going in a rocket at this point. But so you're gonna launch your first of all, okay, this is where I was going with this. He knows nothing about rockets. Okay.
He knows nothing about the Earth.
You build a rocket. Yeah, you build a rocket. Okay, I can understand that. It probably would be fun to build a rocket.
Yeah.
First of all, how is he going to launch this thing without the government being on his rear end? Okay, like we're already
to the back of an ice cream truck. It looks like
this thing is straight out of Twisted Metal from the 90s.
Yeah.
But okay, so you have a rocket, okay. Yeah. But then to get in that said rocket, right?
Yep.
That's the part I have a little bit of a problem with, right? We're already dealing with Little Rocket Man. Now we got one on the mainland too.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like,
he's in there and he's like, oh, damn it. The ignition button's out there. Shit.
He's going to use like a...
He's got a stick. Like trying to reach
just a branch. He's just going to start it. And all I can see is this rocket going like this, and twisting in the air. This thing. So he was supposed to launch last Saturday. Okay. And it got canceled, and I thought it was canceled for good. But now they're saying that he's supposed to launch this coming Monday. So we're going to have some sort of update for you on how that went. Yeah. And hopefully there's video. Now you can actually find his YouTube channel, too, where he'll be live streaming it.
I don't even know how I got a YouTube channel because I don't know anything about computers.
I put some tinfoil on it. I have a little GoPro in there. And I figure, what? Yeah. I'll just hit that stream button right there. But, okay, so that's Mad Mike, okay? Yeah. Now let's talk about his flat earth theory, okay?
It's like a Frisbee with curved up edges. Just say it's an upside down Frisbee.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But he's saying that the ice shelf that's 150 feet. Okay, now we're getting specific. Yeah. Okay, it's 150 feet up. Right.
Yeah, the ice wall 150 feet up, that's Antarctica.
Yeah, all the way around.
That ice wall's never coming down unless the Night King gets an ice dragon. So we're good.
Whoa, ruining things again here. But that apparently holds the oceans into place.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so I'm wondering if this guy is if there was ever a guy to be concerned about global warming.
Mm-hmm. It's this guy.
It's this guy, because if those ice shelves go,
that's it.
Everything goes with it, out into space.
Who would have thought that the ice shelves melting wouldn't make the water rise? It would make the water just go down.
Yeah, this guy, okay, so back to the wall itself, 150 feet. Why so specific, right? I mean, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
He even said, oh, you know what? I forgot to include this in there, but he even said that he believes that, I actually have the quote here. I believe the current president probably knows. John Kerry flew there a while back. I'm sure he knows. So he's saying that, like, the high ups know that there's a Frisbee Earth and everything. You know what I mean? But it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he's not going to be able to launch high enough to see the flat Earth this time. But if this is a successful launch,
third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. You know what they say. So, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not going to get high enough to prove it this time, but I'm still going to do it anyway for some reason.
Because if he's successful with the launch, then he's smart enough to know that the Earth's flat.
Yeah,
let's just be real.
For sure.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago now, there was a brutal attack on Senator Rand Paul, right? And his neighbor just kind of came out of nowhere and attacked him while he was like mowing his lawn or something like that, and blindsided him and hit him so hard that he broke 6 ribs, one of which bruised his lung, and I think knocked a couple teeth out, if I remember correctly. And then the guy was standing over him and didn't say, obviously, before his attack why he was attacking him, but now the weird thing is, Senator Paul said in an interview that after he got attacked, the guy started telling him why he attacked him. But he's still not saying what the guy said on why he attacked him, which is really odd, right? Like, why wouldn't you just say that?
Yeah.
You know, unless it's like tied up in the legal system that you can't say it right now or something. It's just really weird. But the crazy thing is, in this whole process, is that Rand Paul's wife came out against the media because the media hasn't been covering this, right? And it's everything that we've been talking about lately, is that all the violence politically over the last year or more has been coming from the left, right? I mean, primarily violent, the violence itself and violent rhetoric has been coming from the left. And now with this whole sexual harassment stuff, liberal Hollywood, liberal media outlets, Charlie Rose, Matt Lauer, we're going to be talking about tonight. You have in D.C., it's starting to see, and that bottle is just opening. This thing is just getting started. Al Franken, John Conyers, you know,
Bill Clinton. Oh wait, that was
a while ago.
He's the Godfather.
John Conyers is the one who I think when Obamacare was coming out, he was the one that said, "I love when these people say read the bill, like we're gonna read the whole bill or something like that." It's so bad. But this dude was walking around in his underwear, and he got accused of that by one staffer or something, and then you know what the other staffer said? They say, that happens all the time. No one that works for him has not seen him walking around in his underwear. Like, this was the thing. This was just his regular thing, that he walked around in his underwear and everything.
Got more crazy. Comfortable. Goosey.
Jump right in that.
He's got those calf garters to hold your socks up.
To his tiny whities, Oh, man. So anyway, back to Rand Paul. So she's like going after the media because they're not covering this. And the reason why they're not covering is because it doesn't fit their agenda, right? And the motto of the show, the tagline of our show, which isn't right behind me though, I'm pointing to it anyway, is that the truth is more important than agenda. You know? And that's exactly why I put that tagline to the show, is the fact that we have been seeing these faux incidents that have been going as reported, and then when it comes out that they were faked, there's no follow-up because the agenda was more important than the facts. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what they're doing with this stuff. It doesn't fit the liberal agenda in the media sources, that a crazy liberal person who's unbalanced and wanted to attack a sitting senator, which is a federal offense that they're also not going to go into. Like, this guy's going to be looking at some serious time if they could prove that it was politically motivated. And how easy is that going to be? He blindsided him. You know what I mean?
Plus, what did we also learn about politically motivated violence? What's that called?
Terrorism, if I
believe
look up the definition.
I
still never got an answer on that one post.
I don't claim to be smarter than a dictionary, but from what I've heard, politically motivated violence is terrorism. And where do we see politically motivated violence? From the left. Just saying.
So on Wednesday, Kelly Paul, the wife of Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, penned a column for CNN in which she described the brutal aftermath for Paul in the wake of his neighbor ramming him from behind and leaving him with 6 broken ribs, 3 displaced ribs, and pleural effusion and pneumonia. Kelly said, started by noting, the average person takes 20,000 breaths a day, and since November 3rd, my husband, Rand Paul, has not taken a single breath without pain. He has not had a single night's sleep uninterrupted by long periods of difficult breathing or excruciating coughing. She also added, there have been several nights where I had my hand on the phone ready to call 911 when his breathing became so labored it was terrifying. Paul returned to Washington last week despite running a 102.5-degree fever, and the next morning he was diagnosed with pneumonia in his damaged lung. Kelly also wrote, it is incredibly hurtful that some news outlets have victimized Rand a second time as he struggles to recover, delighting in hateful headlines like, not a perfect neighbor, and concocting theories about an ongoing dispute based on nothing more than speculation from an attention-seeking person with no knowledge of anything to do with us. She also said, the fact is neither Rand nor I have spoken to the attacker in 10 years, since before his wife and children moved away.
Speaks volumes.
Their alarm bells are going off again. Mm-hmm. Other than a casual wave from the car, nobody in our family has, nor have we communicated with anyone in his family. This was not a scuffle, a fight, or an altercation, as many in the media falsely describe it. It was a deliberate blindside attack. The impact left Rand with the 6 broken ribs and everything. Yep. This has been a terrible experience made worse by the media's gleeful attempts to blame Rand for it, ridiculing him for everything from mowing his own lawn to composting. Yeah.
So, I mean, it is pretty awful. I mean, if this had happened to
anyone on the left,
yeah, it would be, the alt-right neighbor,
yep.
blah,
Nazi.
blah, blah. Yep. So lucky he didn't get his gun.
Racist, sexist, homophobe, Nazi that attacked the sitting senator. Automatic terrorism.
Yeah.
This is what a terrorist looks like.
This is what a terrorist looks like, yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. I mean, I feel bad for the guy.
Absolutely.
Especially with the, when you're getting the details from his wife is what he's dealing with,
Yeah.
Just to
It's
physically
scary.
recover, and then you're being basically belittled or blamed for it in the media, just like salt on the wound.
I mean, just before we got started tonight, I was talking about my experience of when I was really sick with cancer and everything. And as hard as it was for me dealing with the effects of chemo on my body and everything, the people that you don't really think about are the spouses that have to deal with everything on their own then too, so it gets crazy. So there was a really funny, I guess, video right before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
We're both fans of Steven Crowder.
Yep.
And he put together a quick video right before Thanksgiving going over the Alexa station from Amazon that people use as their home assistant and everything.
Yeah.
And he did a quick video talk because he noticed when he was asking Alexa a lot of things that she was giving a blatantly biased leftist viewpoint of things, right?
Yeah.
And so he asked a couple questions that were pretty amazing, that people are making videos now about like crazy, saying that he faked this, that this is not Alexa's actual voice, that he made Alexa say this stuff. But let's see what Alexa actually had to say before we go on here. So this is Steven Crowder talking about the Alexa.
Alexa, who is the Prophet Muhammad?
The Prophet Muhammad is a very wise prophet. He taught many people how to live. He had a wife called Aisha. He lived in Saudi Arabia. The message that he gave to the people is pray to Allah. He is the only God, and he gave the Holy Quran.
Okay, Alexa, who is the Lord Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ is a fictional character.
That's unreal.
Right? You get this whole long, just crazy speech on who the Prophet Muhammad is, right? And then they ask about Jesus Christ, and he's a fictional character.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
Which, like you were saying, even scholars, even if they are agnostic or atheists, acknowledge that Jesus Christ existed.
Yeah, I had a history professor in college who he was not political at all. I actually really liked him, but he did say he was agnostic in his beliefs or lack thereof, I guess. Basically meaning he doesn't know if there's a God or isn't. He's not saying there isn't, but he doesn't know if there is. but he acknowledged that Jesus existed and was probably considered the greatest humanitarian in all of history. You know, just from a factual standpoint, you know, of what we know, you know, from history. So, so Alexa's way off here.
Well, the crazy part is, as soon as they released this video, people started recording. You can actually go on YouTube and see a lot of people getting that same answer. But within a day, probably.
An update must have been thrown
out. Update was thrown out there on the Alexa app, and now it gives like a brief synopsis of who Jesus Christ was, kind of like it did with the Prophet Muhammad, right? Now people are claiming that Crowder doctored this footage to make Alexa look bad and throw out this whole.
Did you watch the whole video?
Oh yeah.
How many genders are there?
Yeah. So, so you had a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have here my Google Home. You know, Google's version of the Echo. So it's its own personal home assistant. And I figured let's do a live test of Google Home to see how it fares. You know, and it's if it has any biased leanings at all.
So let's just go with those.
I'm hoping. Listen, let me just say first. I'm hoping that I don't all of a sudden want to throw this thing through a window because I love it. And I haven't had to ask it any of this stuff, and I was even afraid to. Like I didn't test it after I saw the Crowder video. So
why don't we go through the Muhammad question first?
Okay.
We'll do the Jesus Christ question.
Yeah. The genders.
And then we'll do the gender one. Yeah. Okay. So go ahead. I'll leave it to you.
Hey Google. Who is...
Something went wrong.
Uh-oh.
Try again in a few seconds.
I just moved it down here. Maybe it's not too far away from the Wi-Fi. I'll try again. Hey Google.
There was a glitch. Try again in a few seconds.
Damn you, Google! I mean, we can do it on my phone. Same thing.
Oh, we set this whole thing up for nothing?
I know.
Hey, Google. Good. Hey, Google.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Must be too
Try
far
again
away.
in a few seconds.
Must be too far away from my router.
Okay.
The mic is muted.
Thank you. Disappointed me, Google.
By the way, the mic is on mute. So what you do is press the button on the back of Google Home.
All right. Who is the Prophet Muhammad?
According to Wikipedia, Muhammad is the prophet and founder of Islam.
Okay. Not bad. Who is Jesus Christ?
Here are some matching news articles.
We don't even get a sentence about it, man.
Who is? They said who is the Lord Jesus Christ?
All right, let's try that. Who is the Lord Jesus Christ?
According to Wikipedia, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father.
So do
it gave me like a clip.
Yeah. So who is the Prophet Muhammad?
Who is the Prophet Muhammad?
According to Wikipedia, Muhammad is the prophet and founder of Islam.
Okay. Go ahead with the gender question.
So pretty balanced as far as just a basic answer.
Granted, that was over a week ago, and Google probably got on right away and did their own thing too.
Okay, there we go. How many genders are there?
Here's what I found.
An article that says 63 genders.
Actually, as you're doing that, do you remember any other questions that he asked?
He did the gender. I mean, they had like big conversations with it too. Those were the ones that stuck out to me.
Okay, there is a. It just reminded me of something here.
Oh, how about this one? Are you liberal or conservative?
I like all parties.
All right, I can't argue with that. That's a good answer.
Okay, so here, this is it. Okay, so
I saw that.
Yeah, so
I saw that.
So the new we're just gonna go over this real quick. The new, so it used to be LGBT.
Yeah.
Right. Then it was LGBTQ. Then they kept on adding things, and they went back and did LGBTQ+. LGBTQ plus or something like that. Well, now it's like up to 15 letters.
Let's forget the plus.
Yeah. So now it's at LGGBDTTTIQQAAPP. Okay?
AARP.
I feel like I've seen this somewhere. I did. Can you read the top line? Okay. Now do the other eye.
Yeah.
Okay. I might make a poster and start selling.
Right. That's funny. LGBT.
So if you're wondering, though,
do we have what these stand for?
Yes,
all right, let's do
that's
it.
what I wanted to go over because some of them are just crazy. So it stands for lesbian, gay, genderqueer, bisexual, demisexual, transgender, transsexual, two-spirit, intersex, queer, questioning, asexual, allies.
Allies?
Yeah, pansexual, and polyamorous. Okay, my polyamorous friend.
Yep.
So look this up here, okay? Because it doesn't have exactly. So two-spirit, in case you're wondering.
What's the difference between queer and genderqueer?
You're such a bigot.
No.
How do you not know this? So listen. So two spirit is a modern pan-India umbrella term used by some indigenous North Americans to describe certain people in their communities who fulfill a traditional third gender or other gender variant role in their cultures. So cultural appropriation, I guess, right? How about demisexual, right? So let's see what that one is.
Questioning.
Yes, it's a person who does not experience sexual attraction unless they form a strong emotional connection with someone. It's more commonly seen in, but by no means confined to, romantic relationships. The term demisexual comes from the orientation being halfway between sexual and asexual.
Okay.
So unless you're not sexually attracted to someone unless you form a connection, which used to be called dating.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So, all right. So, genderqueer. You wanted to know what that one meant in difference, right?
Yeah.
Genderqueer, denoting or relating to a person who does not subscribe to conventional gender distinctions, but identifies with neither, both, or a combination of male and female genders. So,
my favorite part of these definitions is by like the third or fourth word, I'm just lost.
You're lost completely. Yeah, you need a roadmap.
I don't even remember what the first half of the definition was.
Oh my gosh, intersex. Okay, so
listen, this is one time where I can say I'm smarter than the dictionary.
Yeah. Intersex are people that are born with any or several variation in sex characteristics, including chromosomes, gonads, sex hormones, or genitals that, according to the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, do not fit the typical definitions for male or female bodies. You know what we used to call that? Hermaphrodites.
Yeah, right.
So that's what intersex is. Okay.
Allies.
Allies. You wanted it.
Is allies just people that are friends of all of this?
Yes,
or?
People that support this community.
Yeah.
That's yes.
We're normal, but we support this community. Yeah. This weird ass community.
No. It's. I think basically, I would imagine that anyone that fits under the other categories would also be considered an ally.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. What other ones? Questioning. Obviously.
Pansexual.
Pansexual. Okay, let's look up pansexual here. Pansexual, a literal dictionary definition of bisexuality due to the prefix bi, is sexual or romantic attraction to two sexes, males and females, or two genders, men and women. Pansexuality, however, composed with the prefix pan, is a sexual attraction to a person of any sex or gender. So they're greedy.
Yeah.
They can't make up their mind. That's what that person is. Any other ones? Not really.
What's lesbian?
So yeah, I found that pretty interesting too.
That's crazy.
Okay, so we went over this. I said I checked our Alexa as soon as I saw the video. It had already been corrected by then, but I'm sure they changed that right away so that they wouldn't get hit with negative things.
Yeah.
I mean, especially during the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
They were on that stuff immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine? Oh, my word.
Christmas isn't about Jesus to Amazon.
Yeah, seriously.
Presents.
Yeah.
It's about people buying presents from Amazon.
Commercialization.
Yeah.
All right, so a black female writer for Lena Dunham's Lenny letter. I never even heard of that, but she quit, saying that Lena Dunham is a racist. Dunham, joined by co-showrunner Jenny Conner, had stated that the accusation of sexual assault hurled at Miller by actress Aurora Perrineau was one of the 3% of assault cases that are misreported every year. That triggered a great deal of anger, which led to Dunham and Conner issuing a second statement with an apology. But on Sunday, writer Zinzi Clemens issued her own statement on Twitter, writing that she could no longer write for Lenny Letter and urging other writers of color to eschew writing for Dunham, who she accused of being racist. Clemens began by alleging that having known Dunham since college, she had witnessed Dunham's racism firsthand. She also wrote, "For all you writers who are outraged by what she did, I encourage you to do the same, especially women of color. She cannot have our words if she doesn't respect us. To eliminate any doubt, I know exactly who Lena Dunham is, who she was before she was famous, and have for years, and I will tell you." So in regards to that, she said that they shared overlapping social circles back in college, and that Lena avoided those people like the plague because of their racism. I'd call their strain hipster racism, which typically uses sarcasm as a cover, and in the end it looks a lot like gaslighting. It's just a joke. Why are you overreacting? She said she heard a couple people, she said she heard people use the N-word, then try to act like it was all a joke. But Dunham has been accused of racism before, but by other... it says charter members of her beloved left, like the Huffington Post and the Root. Apparently there's been accusations before. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire.
Usually.
So, it's just funny that Lena Dunham is constantly railing against the right.
Yep.
For being sexist homophobes.
Yep.
And racist,
yeah.
You know? I don't know. Maybe there's no mirrors in the house.
God. I mean, there is so...
I would actually encourage her not to have mirrors in the house, to be honest with you.
But with everything, you know, coming out now, there's so many instances of the pot calling the kettle black.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, I mean, we'll get to it with Lauer and O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know.
Yeah, it's insane. So while we're on that kind of topic in regards to writers and everything, and the issues that they have with their work, Rashida Jones, what show was she on?
She was on The Office.
The Office.
She was on The Office, and then she went on to Community. No, not Community, Parks and Rec.
Okay.
She was on Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm.
So she and her writing partner have dropped out of the new Toy Story 4 movie over philosophical differences with Pixar. Yeah. This article had me going, and I'll explain why. But Rashida Jones and Will McCormick dropped out of their positions as co-writers of Toy Story 4, citing a culture at Pixar that marginalizes women and people of color. The co-writers released a statement saying that we parted ways because of creative and, more importantly, philosophical differences. There is so much talent at Pixar, and we remain enormous fans of their films. However, it is also a culture where women and people of color do not have an equal creative voice. The duo pointed out that only one of Pixar's 20 films has been directed by a woman and another by a person of color. The statement added that we hope we can encourage all those who have felt that like their voices could not be heard in the past to feel empowered. Okay, so this is where I have a problem with it.
Listen. She's misinformed, right?
Okay.
14 of those 20 other men identify as women.
True. That's
so
true.
They are women.
Yeah.
And a bunch of those also are Native American. So these are not white men.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah, it's very fluid, too.
Yes.
They can change any day.
They can change any day. All you got to do is just say, this is what I am, and that is what you are, and you have to accept it.
There's really no... There was actually another news story out there that I posted of Carlson Tucker. Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson, yeah. See him interview the girl that basically...
was supporting this guy who became a
Filipino woman.
Filipino woman.
Yeah.
Is there any limit, then, to like the make-believe becoming real that you're describing? I mean, is there anything I can't be? If I can be a different sex, a different race, could I be a different species?
Well, if it's not hurting anyone, then what's the problem? I mean, it's very American to be who you want to be. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great.
We used to call it, and I'm not attacking anybody at all, but we used to say, and Freud himself, the father of modern psychotherapy, said that would be delusional to imagine that you are something that you're not. I mean, people were institutionalized for calling themselves Napoleon, famously.
And so the question wasn't even more in regards to the gender, because we're so past that now. I mean, it's unquestionable. You can be anything that you want. Yeah. So, it should have a snappy tune to it, too. Yeah. But now we're to race being fluid, right?
Yeah.
And you were with me the night that I was at the movies, and I said to my friend, who's an extreme liberal, I said, how do you feel about, you know, because at the time the big topic was transgenderism, right? So I said, how do you feel about people being able to identify as whatever they want as far as gender and everything? He said, oh, I'm cool with it. That's fine with me. And I said, okay, but there's a case of a woman out in Washington who is white. Do you remember her name?
I don't remember. Rachel. I forget it, but that's what they were talking about too.
Yeah. So this woman was white, like very white. She was albino white, and she was running the
blonde hair, blue eyes, kind of like Jennifer or Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. She was running the what was it, NAACP out there or something, and as like a black woman with like curly hair that she had to do herself because she had very straight blonde hair.
It was like
yeah. And she is identifying as black, and I said, well, how do you feel about that? And he was like, that's wrong. That's you can't change what your skin color is.
It's like
no self-awareness in those two statements at all. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
you can't make this white skin black, but you can make this penis a vagina.
Exactly, and that's what I said.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
how can you not get this, Chris?
But at the time, he was very against the transracialism, right?
Has he kind of come on board now?
I don't know. Because well, let's let this thing take off, right? Because
he probably will have conveniently forgotten.
Because how hard was that woman arguing that you could be a Filipino woman?
Yeah. So he made great point, like counter arguments too. Like, okay, so if I identify as a woman and get a job that I get from you, is that okay? And she was like, yeah. And in her head, she's like, no, that's BS. Yes. She's like, I gotta toe this line. I have to now. I'm in too deep. Yes, exactly. I have to go along with it.
I gotta drown here.
Yeah. So can I take advantage of affirmative action if I just say I'm black? Yes. You can.
Fritz.
Yeah. Malfunction.
Does not compute. I'm surprised she didn't just go, you're a racist. Yeah. Homophobe.
And that Filipino woman didn't even look like he wasn't even trying. I'm sorry, man, but your effort, I mean, come on. I mean, the standard that's been brought out now by Jenner.
Seriously.
You can't just grow your hair long, still look like a dude, and be like, I'm a Filipino woman.
Yeah.
He didn't even try to, like, pigment his skin, like Rachel, whatever the heck her name is.
Yeah.
Lazy.
Desnell,
yeah.
Rachel Desnell, yeah.
Just because he got one of those Filipino cars.
Or is...
Tut-tuts.
Who was the abortionist? Crazy guy. Down in Philadelphia.
I don't know.
That kept the babies in jars.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Gosnell, I think. Yeah. So this is Dosnell. Maybe there's a trend there.
Maybe
that's something we need to look into. Anyway, so Rashida Jones.
Yeah.
Jones.
Yep.
Okay.
Daughter of Quincy Jones.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So here's the problem that I have with this whole statement: that there was only one person of color that directed the films and one woman. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of information missing there. Okay.
Yeah.
How many women tried out to be the directors of each of those projects?
Yeah.
Okay. What was their background in regards to being qualified to direct those films.
Yeah.
What did their portfolios look like in those? Were there any women that applied for the director's spots? Were there any? And then all those questions applied to the people of color too. Did anyone of color apply for the job to be director of the film? You know, I don't know what the process is, but I can tell you this. There's a lot of missing information here to just loosely throw out this accusation that they're sexist and racist when it comes to the culture within Pixar.
Maybe they just got the best person for each job, because I'll tell you what, most Pixar movies are outstanding.
Yes, they are.
So it's like, you know, who directed the Cars movies is what I want to know.
Why, you don't like them?
Probably could have found somebody better.
I'm not a big Cars fan. Yeah.
No.
Although I did just watch the last one.
Cars 3? It was alright. They're okay.
Yeah.
But it's not Pixar level.
No,
you know?
Toy Story is the best. Or Incredibles.
Incredibles is my favorite. Did you see the teaser for the new?
I did, yeah.
That's good stuff.
But here's the other thing, too. You know, in regards to false accusations, it's kind of like everything that's going on right now, which is throwing out into the public opinion court of public opinion, which is you're guilty until proven innocent, instead of the way the system works, which is innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
You know, so now Pixar has a label on them with a lot of information missing in regards to their statement.
Yep.
Not too happy with that.
The fact that she left too means they hired her.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
Yeah, and who's this other guy? Like, is he a person of color?
Mike McCormick,
well, she's a person
or Will
of color,
McCormick,
right?
Yeah, Quincy Jones' daughter. I think she's half and half.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. So,
as soon as I said half, I'm like, man, there's a better way to say this, but it's just not coming to me.
Yeah.
So,
don't make me say it. Don't make me say it.
Will McCormick sounds like a white dude, though. Gotta say. But,
That's true.
I am assuming.
Good,
we don't assume.
really good dressing. So
yeah.
Eminem.
Yeah,
we talked about him a couple weeks ago and his freestyle rap. It was called his where is it? Cypher verse, whatever the heck that means. The thing was horrendous.
Yeah.
The fact that, first of all, when I opened up this article about Eminem being angry, which we'll get to in a second here, you know, she was going on and on about how viral this video went and how sick his laydown of it was and how the buzz of BET and all this stuff. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This thing was like, it made my ears bleed. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was really bad. You know, you would think that someone like Eminem would actually be able to come up with some good verses and like throw down a freestyle down on 8 Mile. But, you know, so Eminem is actually extremely angry that Trump has not responded to his BET Cypher verse. And during a recent interview, Eminem expressed his frustrations with Trump ignoring his BET freestyle. He said, "I was and still am extremely angry. I can't stand that mother effer. I feel like he's not paying attention to me. I was kind of waiting for him to say something, and for some reason he didn't say anything." Well, number one,
like no one's paying.
No one's paying. Yeah.
Pay attention to me!
I'm gonna sit there and scream
until you can pay attention. Oh my god.
It's. I feel like he's not paying attention to me. Number one, no one was paying attention to you up until the Cypher verse, right? And now people are paying attention to you for two reasons. One, to verify their own feelings with your horrible Cypher verse, right? Or two, people like us are like, that was horrendous. And that's the only reason why we're paying attention to you, too. You have been out of the spotlight for how long now? You're a nobody. Right? I mean, I guess he's still respected in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, he did a lot. I mean, he was pretty big in our high school years.
Oh yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Which just shows you how old we are.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And I mean, it also it's some cultural appropriation. You know? Taking jobs from African American rappers.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but Eminem, like you said, chocolate on the inside.
Yeah, that's right.
So then the other thing they said, I was kind of waiting for him to say something, and for some reason he didn't say anything, which is just like you said. Trump says something about everything. It's always
it's pretty low on the toe. You're pretty low on total if you don't.
If you're not getting any response. Yeah. I mean, as soon as Matt Lauer was fired, instantly. Yeah. He didn't even do anything.
You don't qualify, Eminem. Sorry.
It's so bad. I'm just waiting for Eminem to just show up at the White House. You know that's going to happen. It's going to be another video where he shows up and starts. Yeah,
pay attention to me.
Yeah, he's going to do a freestyle in front of the White House.
Yeah,
put that down in the history books. I said it tonight. That's what's going to happen. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Trump comes out. Who's that guy out front?
Yeah,
he's supposed to be cutting the gas.
Yeah. Didn't I see you at McDonald's the other day? Put that paper hat back on, boy.
Oh my god.
Oh jeez. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty of what's been going on out there. It's another week and another batch of sexual harassment claims, firings, and celebrity rants. So this is pretty crazy. Angela Lansbury was talking about sexual harassment, saying that women must take some blame. Right? So, number one, I didn't know she was still alive.
I know.
Freaking Murder, She Wrote. She was old when we were young.
Head Knobs and Broomsticks.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
The teapot from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Yeah. So why didn't she reprise her role? Who'd that go to? It was in the new one.
Someone not as good.
Famous English actress.
Yeah.
I forget her name. But Angela Lansbury says that she believes women must at least partially be held accountable in instances of harassment. In an interview with Radio Times published on Tuesday, the actress who played Jessica Fletcher in the television series Murder, She Wrote, which everybody knows their grandparents watched, said that women are to some degree responsible. She said there are two sides to this coin. She's 92, by the way. We have to own up to the fact that women, since time immemorial, have gone out of their way to make themselves attractive, and unfortunately it's backfired on us. And this is where we are today. We must sometimes take blame, women. I really do think that, although it's awful to say, we can't make ourselves look as attractive as possible without being knocked down and raped. You know what they say about old people and kids?
Yeah.
The stuff that comes out of their mouth.
Right. Man, she's pulling no punches.
No, not at all. There was a great point. It was made on the radio today by someone in regards to the workplace, because the workplace is taking a hit right now.
Oh
God. HR departments are just going nuts with either claims or updating their policies and handing them out.
Did you see the video of Geraldo Rivera?
No, but I heard he did something.
So they played an old interview.
Yeah,
where someone asked him about a book he wrote, and he was like, "In the book, you claim you've slept with 1,000 women." And he's like, Geraldo Rivera. And he's like, those were the days. And then he's like, back then there are no HR departments. He said this. There are no HR departments. Everyone's young. Everyone's going crazy. Blah, blah, And then they had to get on Bette Midler. Bette Midler played an interview with her, saying that Geraldo Rivera, when he was young, him and a producer cornered her,
raped her,
drugged her,
and
then groped her.
Yeah, and broke a pill under her nose or something with some sort of fume.
So so he's the next one. That's going to be
he's gone.
Over.
He's the next one on the hit
and
list.
Then also, Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
He just also was accused of a bunch of stuff and stepped down from his position at his company.
You know what it is, though, with all this stuff? It's power trips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, this is all about being in a position of power and exerting that power over another person is what it comes down to.
And what points to this just being really about the power trip of it all is what's actually happening. And when you hear these accusations, when you think of sexual harassment, or you think of a guy that isn't taking no for an answer. He's he's kind of pushing it, let's go out, the thing, slap him on the butt or whatever, things like that. And then maybe has a few drinks and things. But we're talking about guys just going in, taking their junk out.
Yeah.
Look at me. Oh,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? I'm going to walk around in my underwear. And just like, it's like this weird stuff of like, they just feel like they could do whatever they want, you know?
No one wants to see... I don't want to see my own penis.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, it's like, why would you digitize that?
I know.
And send it out there for people to see.
Yeah.
Like I gotta be honest with you. Like, we are that generation, you know, that was on the verge. We like we said before, the analog to digital wall, right? Mm-hmm. We're the generation that brought that over as far as growing up with it and everything. And the new generations just fully believe in it and embrace it, and they post everything that they're doing. So, you know, the dangers out there right now are that you're posting where you are, so people know you're not home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the danger there. People are taking nude photographs of themselves and, you know, sending it to their boyfriends and girlfriends, not thinking that once that relationship ends, that's getting spread around the school and everything. Not only that, people like these celebrities. How many times does what is that website?
Leaks?
The Fappening? That they keep on hacking the celebrities' cell phones and everything, and they keep on releasing waves upon waves of celebrity nudes because they're on the photos, the cloud and everything.
Yep.
You know? It's like, when the heck are you going to learn?
Get a Polaroid camera. Make an album. Come on.
Make an album. I made a flip book for you. Just thumb through it quickly. It's my version of a movie.
Make a sex tape, honey. Yeah. You get like a VHS camcorder. All right, we're good.
But I mean, like, how do these people not know this? Like Anthony Weiner and Matt Lauer.
Yeah.
All these people that are taking pictures of their junk and sending it out there. These women celebrities that are posing nude and sending it out to their wherever. I mean, it's like, how many times does this stuff have to happen before people start learning that just there shouldn't be any cameras around you when you're naked at all?
I know.
No one wants...
And I feel like...
I mean, I'm not going to say no one wants to see it, but, like... You gotta be careful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We're living too like in an era where like the selfie, even just not even like sex pictures, but just like you go like any female's phone, like their camera roll is just pictures of themselves, all different angles, like everything like that.
Now I don't know about you, but we met at T-Mobile. We worked at T-Mobile together. I should have said that word, maybe. I should have just said cell phone company.
Cell phone store.
Yeah, a cell phone company. We'll edit that out. 3, 2, 1. We met at a cell phone store working together. And how many... I don't know about you, but there were multiple times that people were like, there's something wrong with my phone. And you had to, you know, go in there and either, number one, their background is a nude picture,
or a picture of them, even just a selfie.
Yeah, or you open it up and it's like right in their gallery and there's like nudes all over the place in there. I had it happen multiple times, right?
Yeah.
And the funniest one, I don't know if you know this. The funniest one was there was a week where all of us were getting these, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I'll be honest with you, it was some attractive people, mostly women, right? That we were all getting and everything. And then Seth.
This guy we know.
Yeah, this guy we know. Who is funny. The running joke at that time was, I don't know if you remember what I said about him, like his finger had a USB port and he just plugs into the computer to update. That's the kind of guy he is. He's really super smart with technology and everything. But he's like, what the heck, guys? Why are you guys getting all these nude, everybody's showing you their nude stuff. That week, he got one himself. He opened up the phone. It was like a 350-pound black dude just holding on to his junk right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Like, people don't know where they're at in their phone when they hand it to you. Like, before, when you just turn it on and there it is.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Now, just another quick funny story. I was told in... not the training that we took on the computers, but by an associate or a manager, I forget who it was, But they said when a customer comes out into you and says, there's something wrong with my phone, and they go to hand it to you, don't take it. Yeah. Ask them what's wrong with it. Because 9 times out of 10, it fell in the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I swear to you, it was within a week, someone did that and went to hand it to me. I said, what happened to it? And they said, it fell in the toilet. I'm like, why would you hand me that?
Yeah, I remember that training. Yep. Yeah, and there was also that big thing, too, where I even started asking people, too, like, open up your phone, get to the home screen, because then there was a big story where Apple, do you remember this, where the Apple store got in big trouble because employees were caught, like, getting handed phones, and not, like, the pictures weren't up. They would be like, oh, yeah, we're fixing your phone, and then they would just, like, go into the gallery and just start looking at the gallery, like, right in front of the customers.
Oh, my gosh.
Or tell you, we got to take your phone in the back, and they would all huddle up and, like, all look, look at this. Man. And that's messed up, because now you're...
The Genius Bar, you leave it there sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, they have full access to everything.
Yeah.
People put stuff, it goes into, backs up into the cloud, they don't even know.
That's crazy.
They forget about it.
Yeah.
Like... I mean, if I can go back through my Google Photos to, like, 2.5 years ago, and I'm like, oh, I remember that, Whoa!
I got to empty my phone out because of my job. It takes up so much space.
Yeah.
So, Angela Lansbury, that's where we left off. So, Chelsea Handler, another winner right there, decided to tweet about political candidate Roy Moore, which we talked about last week, is the other one that's embroiled in all this stuff, which is crazy because of the accusations, only one of them was really actually illegal.
Yep.
The other ones were consensual relationships where he actually asked the parents if he could date them, but they were of age. Mm-hmm. And now in Alabama at that time, it was 16.
Yeah.
So there was a 16, 17, and 18-year-old that he dated when he was in his 30s. Is he a creep? If that's true, I mean, he admitted that he dated them. So, he's a little creepy with that stuff. But it wasn't illegal.
Nope.
Right? Mm-hmm. The 14-year-old that he fondled over the underwear, there's no proof of that yet, at least. And if that did happen, then, that's illegal. You know what I mean? But most of the other accusations that are coming out, nothing was illegal. He was just known as a creepy dude. Yeah. You know? So, anyway... Chelsea Handler sent a tweet out in regards to him, and instead she actually ended up getting owned in the Twitter sphere.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, so she tweeted out, imagine being molested by an older man, then that man denies ever doing it, and then goes on and gets elected to United States Senate. What kind of message does that send to young girls everywhere? And men to all the men who abuse women. To which Juanita Broderick tweeted... Yeah, at Chelsea Handler, I can imagine. I was raped by the Arkansas Attorney General, who then became governor and president, and NBC held my interview explaining the rape until after his impeachment hearing, but I'm sure you don't want to go there. So Juanita Broderick, in case you don't know, was referring to President Bill Clinton, who was just one of the many people that accused him of rape, and hers was actually pretty brutal.
Yeah.
She was working for a charity organization at the time, and he was trying to help her do work down in Arkansas, and they met at the hotel.
Yeah.
And they met in the lobby, and he said it was too loud down there with all the reporters and everything else going on. He wanted a more private conversation, so he invited her up to the hotel room, and they got up there. He closed the door, forced himself on her, to the point where he was knocking her around and bit her lip and made it bleed.
Yep.
And when he left her on the bed, he went over to the door, and she said that he turned around and looked at her and in regards to her lip said, "You better put some ice on that," and then just walked out.
Yeah.
That's dark some
stuff.
Dark monster stuff right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a pretty brutal. Not the most brutal of attacks, but she was raped. You know, and then Hillary Clinton is known as using the FBI to blackmail these women that came forward in regards to accusing Bill Clinton of rape, and they use that information to blackmail them into silence.
Yeah. And, we're hearing about all these accusations coming out now, and especially when it was more right-wing people. you hear, oh, the women are protesting and this is awful, this is the worst thing, and it is, you know. But if any of these women really thought about it and were like, if another woman not only didn't believe the accusers, but actually trashed them and did everything they could, like, that's almost worse.
Yeah.
They're being betrayed by your own kind, you know, they're supposed to be on your team. But no, Hillary Clinton, who did that, is like the champion of the women.
I was just going to say champion of women. Like, yeah, she came out with a political ad during her campaign saying all women who have been sexually assaulted should be believed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, you actually made sure that all women.
Unless it's my husband.
Exactly.
Then I will do everything I can to make sure no one believes them.
Yeah, exactly.
By using all of the political power that I have.
Yeah.
You know, it's disgusting. She's like, she's the scum of the earth, and like that. It drives me nuts how everyone just loved her so much and cried when she lost, and she was my hero.
The glass ceiling didn't break in the Jacob Javits Center.
God, I'll never forget on election night getting into an argument with someone on Twitter, just some random person, and like say everyone was talking about like, how do I explain this to my daughters? And I basically just said, I am so happy that, you know, the first I don't have to explain to my daughters that the first female president was a lying, conniving, criminal scumbag. And that hopefully the first female president will be someone that they can actually look up to.
Yeah. I don't know who that would be right now as far as who should be running for either side. I know I would kind of like to see Nikki Haley run eventually.
I think you'd mentioned her before,
yeah. I don't know. You know, I back in 2008, I was a fan of Palin, but then I realized she was just bumper sticker slogans. That was it. You know? There wasn't any substance to her at all. I don't mind her. I don't mind her daughter Bristol though. I mean, she seems really smart.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, smart. Very.
She is just as smart as Gal Gadot is a great actress.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and another thing that kind of came up too in regards to this was not long ago. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. We might have, but when Michelle Obama had her statement where if you're a woman and you voted, you didn't vote for Hillary, then you voted against your own voice.
Yes, yeah.
And then someone pointed out, okay, when Hillary ran against your husband, did you vote for Hillary or did you vote against your own voice?
Yeah. But, you know, kind of going back into everything that's going on right now with the sexual harassment in the workplaces and everything.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have been rightly pointing out the fact that a lot of these accusations that are coming out are women saying that they were pulled into an office by a superior in the company, an authoritative figure, and they felt pressured into doing whatever it was that the authority wanted them to do because they were afraid of losing their job, right? And, you know, it's my wife is huge on this. Where's the respect for yourself?
Yeah.
You know, especially in regards to today, there's very conflicting ideas as far as feminism and what's happening there, that they would actually feel like they're pressured into that.
Yeah.
Like, where's the value that you're placing on your own life over your career?
Yeah.
Even especially these Hollywood stars and everything with the Harvey Weinstein.
Crazy.
Like, they felt that they had to do that to stay in the industry. Wouldn't you rather not be in the industry and have your dignity than follow through with that? I don't know.
And not only that, if something like that happens to you and you don't, I mean, you hate to belittle a victim, right? They're still victims, you know?
Yeah, they are.
And this is an awful thing that happened to them. But I could, if it were me in a similar situation for whatever it may be, I couldn't help but think to myself, if I don't say anything, then I'm kind of partially responsible for any future victims of this guy or whatever, you know? So there's that too. It's like, and once it all came out, then you just see all of them just coming out like with the hate on this guy when it was clearly a widely known thing, especially in regards to Weinstein.
Yep.
You know, so it was so widely known, like, and you knew, and then you're like, you know, for Meryl Streep to call him a god, you know?
Oh, I know.
There are things like Meryl Streep is not someone who's gonna lose her job as an actress if she says something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you can't tell me she doesn't know what's going on. Oh, that all came to, you know, they always bash Trump for saying the term locker room talk, but I am sure that all these stories were happening, and a lot of these actresses and actors and everybody were like, oh, that's just Harvey being Harvey.
Yeah.
That's what they said. It's the same thing as locker room talk.
Just wait.
It's the same thing. Like,
just wait. You know what I'm getting ready to do? I'm going to put together a compilation, because you know who's going to run for president next on the Democrat side?
Is it Mark Cuban? I heard about him.
Well, yeah, he'll be running too, but someone that ran in the past.
Not John.
Creepy dude.
Oh. You're going to say it. I'm going to be like, oh.
Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Joe Biden. Oh, we talked about Joe Biden, you know?
So I'm going to put together a compilation of the creepiest stuff that he is groping women all the time. And just making those remarks.
Look at your mother. Oh, yeah.
Is that your daughter? What a lucky guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the compilation we played in the past was just, it was dominoes, one after the other. And it was all at one event of him taking pictures with people. God, look at you. God love you. Oh, my word. Look at your, like you saying, like, look at your body. Oh, my gosh.
It was crazy.
Like, he was... Like, this stuff is over the top compared to some of this other stuff. I mean, we're looking at accusations right now of people saying it was sexual harassment for a guy to ask you out to dinner.
I knew it.
There has to be a line in the sand somewhere. Yeah. Okay? Because otherwise, how do people even interact with each other anymore?
Yeah.
How do you find a partner?
Yeah.
You know? Because if you can't even approach someone to ask them if they would be interested in coming out with you to dinner,
what would be the liberal way or the super leftist way to ask someone out? Like, that would be a totally politically correct, acceptable.
Well, here's the other angle to this whole thing, right? Is Tinder.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, well, no. Here it goes a little bit deeper, because we are looking at the collapsing of social morals. Okay? I've mentioned in the past I have a friend who is in a relationship that's open.
Yeah.
Right? And that's disgusting. I'm sorry, but it is, you know? But then you also have, like, this sex is just something to feel good, you know? Whereas a Christian conservative person says that sex is something between two partners, especially under marriage, under God and everything else. It's something that you share with the person that you love in a marriage setting. You know what I mean? And that's a narrative that has been completely thrown away now and tossed out the window. And sex is nothing anymore, right?
Yep.
But where has that led us? Now everything is sexual harassment. When people are in a work environment, okay, and sex is nothing, and you've been taught by society that sex is nothing, well, then why is it a big deal to just outright ask someone to look at you naked? Yeah, just the tip.
Yeah,
like David Blaine, you know. I'm sorry, not just the tip, just a second.
Why can't I show you my junk?
It's
just the junk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sex, you know. But do you see where this has taken us?
Yeah.
Right. The demolishing of social morals in society have led us, which is why this is the biggest conundrum right now for liberals. Right. I mean, you have someone like Matt Lauer, who in the media has been a champion for women.
Yep.
When you're interviewing someone like Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
You have someone like
every Halloween he dressed up as a woman. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Every Halloween he was a Baywatch babe. He was.
Oh my gosh,
this is crazy.
So how about Al Franken? We're going to get to him in a little bit too. Al Franken said in a recent interview, you know, everybody knows I'm a champion of women. Like, I'm sorry that this happened. I don't know. It's something I have to work on. Well, do you understand that the society and social values that your political party mostly have pushed since the 60s, the free love generation, right? What you've been destroying over time has now come back to bite you in the ass as far as what you're promoting and saying that you stand against is now coming back and you're being hit with it because you're a person.
Yep.
And you're living in that lifestyle.
Yep.
They are eating their own. That's why liberal Hollywood is one of the biggest places where this is happening. That's why liberal politicians are falling. Media elite, who are typically liberal. You have Roger Ailes, you have Bill O'Reilly, Geraldo Rivera apparently too. But again, this is all coming back to this, the effects of the sexual revolution and power trips for these people. You know? That was my rant.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, it's...
You can't, can you?
You can't. Not with any facts or reason.
Yeah, exactly, which they hate.
Which means they can argue.
I'll pull out a pie right now from Papa John's and give you a pie chart.
Yeah, pie chart it up.
So we were talking about Chelsea Handler there for a second. Okay, so let's get to it.
Yeah.
Al Franken is now being accused of kissing and groping without consent. The leftist comedian, which is a loose term. I mean, he was on Saturday Night Live. Do you remember any other skits besides Stuart Smalley?
Where you look in the mirror.
Yeah, any other ones?
No. What did he? Was he more of a writer and he just did that skit?
I don't know, because he was considered a cast member.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing I remember.
Like, what did he used to say in the mirror? Like during those things?
Worth it. Yeah. And gosh darn it, I'm worth it.
Yeah.
He would always end with that. Yeah,
but
and even a lot of people said like that.
I molest women.
One, yeah.
I'm a monster.
Yeah.
But god damn it, I'm worth it.
A lot of people even say that skit wasn't really funny until he had Michael Jordan in front of him.
Yeah, that was
with
the
him.
funny one.
That was funny because Michael Jordan, it looked like Stewart was kind of like groping his shoulders while he was doing it.
Always groping.
And Michael Jordan was cracking. He was trying not to laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it was actually that one was really funny. But so he's considered a comedian, I guess. But less than 2 years before being elected to the Senate, he was apparently sexually harassing a reporter on a USO tour. He repeated that actors really need to rehearse everything and that we must practice a kiss.
In a skit that he wrote.
Yeah. Power trip. The woman said, and I said, okay, so he would stop badgering me. We did the line leading up to the kiss, and then he came at me, put his hand on the back of my head, mashed his lips against mine, and aggressively stuck his tongue in my mouth.
Yeah.
I immediately pushed him away with both my hands against his chest and told him if he ever did that to me again, I wouldn't be so nice about it the next time. I walked away. All I could think about was getting to a bathroom as fast as possible to rinse the taste of him out of my mouth.
Ugh. This poor woman.
Oh, those lips, too. He looks like a lizard person. So, she also said, it wasn't until I was back in the U.S. and looking through the CD of photos that we were given by the photographer that I saw this one. So take a look at this right here. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Oops. So this is a photo that was actually taken while she was on the plane asleep. So he's reaching out and pretending to grope her, basically, you know? And he apologized for that. We're going to actually play a couple clips from this interview where he's just falling apart. And here's the other thing about that. The left is not used to getting this kind of heat. It's always the right. And you can tell that him and any other leftist politician like Anthony Weiner and everything, they fall apart when they're being grilled. And he is being grilled in this interview.
Because it's also like, okay, how do I respond to this awful thing that I clearly did?
Yes.
This is sick. I mean, she's sleeping. Like, that's like how much more vulnerable can a person be?
Yeah, but you know what? On top of that...
One step worse than this is the scene in Kill Bill. You know, where she's in a coma? And the nurse, the man nurse is like selling her. That's like one step away from this.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, too. Number one, I don't think he's actually touching her there.
Yeah.
Okay. But this photograph was obscene in the fact that it was done to make her uncomfortable when she saw it.
Oh, for sure.
And it was probably payback for the fact that she pushed him away during the kiss and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Of course. Yeah, you got your sleeping face on, you look all silly.
Yeah.
It's like, it's totally awful. And the guy that she was with here, he's asleep, so it's him and the cameraman.
Yep.
Or woman, whoever.
Yeah.
Hillary's
Well,
the cameraman. Hillary's taking the picture. This is going to be great.
Yeah. But, yeah,
it's awful.
It's really awful. So she said in regards to that picture, I felt violated all over again, embarrassed, belittled, and humiliated. How dare anyone grab my breast like this and think that it's funny? I told my husband everything that happened and showed him the picture. She said, I wanted to shout my story to the world with a megaphone to anyone who would listen, but even as angry as I was worried about the potential backlash and damage going public might have had on my career. She said, but that was then, this is now, I'm no longer afraid. You knew exactly what you were doing. You forcibly kissed me without my consent, grabbed my breast while I was sleeping, and had someone take a photo of you doing it, knowing I would see it later and be ashamed. My story is worth telling. So let's get to some of the bits from this interview where this woman out in Minnesota actually interviewed him.
The first allegation that surfaced was from radio host Leanne Tweeden, who said that during a USO tour in 2006, shortly before he announced his run for the Senate, Franken forcibly kissed her against her will.
With Leanne Tweeden, I said with her that I had a different recollection of the kiss we had during the rehearsal for that. But
what is your recollection of that kiss?
My recollection of that kiss is different from hers. It is that we were rehearsing a sketch where I kiss her, and it's really to set up a soldier coming up to kiss her.
Okay, so first of all, this is his recollection. Okay, his recollection is she wanted it, and that's part of the power trip right there. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't matter. He doesn't understand. It doesn't matter what he felt was going on. He was living in his own perverted universe of emotion, right? Mm-hmm. It mattered what she was thinking was going on. You know? Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what. So let me see this next one here.
Then there are 3 other women, Lindsay Mentz and 2 others who came forward anonymously in a Huffington Post article. All have similar stories claiming that Franken, while posing for pictures with them, grabbed their buttocks. They say the incidents happened between 2007 and 2010, when Franken was either running for office or was a United States Senator. Are they mistaken that their butt was grabbed? Is that what you're saying?
I am not saying that. I don't remember these. As I said, I take thousands of photos, so I don't remember these particular photos.
I think with all due respect, I think people are going to look at this and find it hard to believe that someone such as yourself wouldn't know that they were grabbing somebody's butt.
I can understand how people would feel that way.
But have you ever placed a hand on some woman's butt?
You know, I can't say that that hasn't happened. I take thousands and thousands of pictures. Sometimes in crowded and chaotic situations. I can't say I haven't done that.
I mean, listen, when you're in a crowded, chaotic situation and people are just moving around, sometimes you got to grab the butt.
Yeah.
And just hold on.
Yeah,
and
right?
Just because it's so chaotic. I thought you were going to throw up.
I kind of want to. I mean, there's also a difference between, like, if you're in a crowded area and you happen to make contact and grabbing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no. There's like, oh no, the back of my palm accidentally brushed against your butt. Sorry about that. Mike, or I'm gripping your butt cheek.
Mike, throughout your lifetime, how many times have you been photographed?
Countless.
Yeah. Have you ever grabbed a girl's ass in the photograph?
I can't say.
No. I want your true answer.
No, I haven't.
No, that's the answer.
My wife or a girlfriend.
That's the answer right there, right? To say I can't say no because of X, Y, or Z. Like, give me a break. No, you should know off the top of your head. No, I do not do that to anybody. I would not grab a person's rear end.
The picture they showed too, it was just him and a lady. It wasn't a crowded area.
No, yeah, and she's the one that was that was accusing him of it. Yeah. So I mean, no,
I can't say that I haven't done that. I can't.
So bad.
I don't know.
What's going on here?
If you had told me 2 weeks ago that a woman was going to come forward and say I disrespected her, I would have said no.
Well, I don't think any of them are using that word. I think that's your word. I think that,
or done anything like this.
Leanne Tweeden said he forcibly
I understand
kissed her.
what she said, and I think they're not using the word disrespect. I think some people are looking at that word and saying, no. Lindsay Menz said you molested her on Facebook right afterwards. I think these women feel this goes way beyond disrespect. I understand that. I have a different recollection.
How many times is this guy going to say, I understand. I understand.
You know what he understands?
He's screwed.
He understands how Jeffrey Sessions felt when he was grilling him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Holy crap, this is awful. I'm going to go easy next time.
We're actually getting to that next about his credibility, what she brings up. She hits him between the eyes. I mean, this keeps on coming up, so every time he is caught, knowing that he has no place to turn in this interview, he's saying, I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
I understand what they're saying. I disagree. I saw it from a different point of view. Yeah, you felt it from a different point of view too. Yeah. But he's caught with his pants down.
Saw it from my own perverted point of view.
Yeah, I mean, he's the fact that Al Franken and these other Democratic senators have been all over Roy Moore shouldn't be in the Senate for these accusations that he's come under fire. Nancy Pelosi announced today, along with Paul Ryan, that who's the guy I talked about? Conyers should step down and resign. Okay, and Franken is not doing that. He's refusing to do that.
Didn't he say that he suggests there be an investigation?
An ethics committee.
Like, what is that going to do?
It doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
And that's why he knows it's going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the last part of this, and we'll talk about it in a second.
Can you really continue to claim kind of a moral high ground on some of these issues, including the Trump-Russia investigation, when a lot of people feel you've been less than transparent about these particular allegations?
Well, I think I'm a good questioner, and I think that the questions that I'm asking don't go to my credibility. They go to the credibility of the witness. They go to the credibility.
But hasn't your credibility been undermined?
I would say yes.
Crap. So yeah, I mean, so this goes back to your point. He was one of the top grillers in these appointment hearings and everything. It was him. It was Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and who was I can't stand him. He marched with Martin Luther King, and that's the only part about him that I respect. Lewis. I forget his name.
I forget.
I don't know, but these people are all scumbags. And especially Franken. Just absolutely horrible. That clip just rips him apart. So
it's just so funny. Oh yeah, I guess. I mean, it doesn't speak to my credibility. I'm asking them about their credibility. Yeah, but doesn't it undermine your credibility? Well, yeah.
So,
man.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Anything else that you have to say about that at all?
No, I mean, it's just it's weird, like seeing how they can't explain themselves in a way that will not counter or contradict what they've been saying for years on a political basis, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like they're stuck.
Yeah,
they're stuck. They you know.
Yep.
And the other thing that I find kind of interesting is like some of the accusations that are kind of thrown out towards right-leaning people their reaction is more, this didn't happen, or, you know, it's more like refusals and everything. And of course, if it did, they need to be held accountable. But then there's like, okay, we got to go through due process and everything. But they are so caught that they just have to just be like, yep, I stepped down, Louis C.K., I did it, you know. And
again, Louis C.K. was a special case, though. Yeah. That was consent.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
He did ask.
Very, very weird.
But it was still a power trip, I think. Like he was.
Absolutely.
He was asking, knowing that they had a very, very small chance of them saying no, even if they really did want to say no. You know?
Yep. So the next guy on the hit list for sexual harassment is Matt Lauer, who was the host of the Today Show for over 20 years.
Oh yeah.
He was making like $26 million a year.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Nope.
So on Wednesday morning, NBC News announced that it had fired Today Show co-host Matt Lauer for inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. And Chairman Andrew Lack told employees in a memo, may not have been an isolated incident. He said in this memo, "Dear colleagues, on Monday night we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. It represented, after serious review, a clear violation of our company's standards. As a result, we've decided to terminate his employment. While it is the first complaint about his behavior in over 20 years he's been here at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected, except for those that are accused, of course, and to ensure that any actions that run counter to our core values are met with consequences, no matter who the offender. We are deeply saddened by this turn of events, but we will face it together as a news organization and do it in as transparent a manner as we can." Now, I said in regards to the accused, Matt Lauer's guilty as hell. Okay, that's one thing. But when it comes to other people, there's false accusations out there, and these
there's
things
apparently 3%
there needs to be
according to
yeah, seriously, yeah. On Wednesday morning, Page 6 reported that a female NBC staffer told the outlet that Lauer had sexually assaulted her during the Rio Olympics, which was, I think, back in 2015.
Yeah, that was just recently.
Yeah. Matt Lauer allegedly sexually assaulted a female NBC staffer during the Rio Olympics. The staffer, who has not been named and wishes to remain anonymous, complained to NBC News bosses yesterday, which was Tuesday, I guess, prompting them to move fast and fire him. So there's some stories out there besides that too. I think in regards to that one, she had picture messages on her phone of his junk. Again, it's just like this power trip of you must want to see my penis.
Yeah, I know.
But so here's some of the other things that we've been hearing, right?
Yeah.
That his office had a button on his desk that he would hit and lock the door, that no one could go in or out, right?
Yep.
And that one woman he sexually assaulted so badly that she passed out, and he took advantage of her from like trauma or something. And something about like she had to be carried out of the office then or something. Like, this can't be the first complaint then. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, that's,
you know. But now, as we were talking about, like, a lot of people are saying like that sounds like Dr. Evil type stuff to have a button on your desk that locks the door. Like, oh, look at you.
How did that happen?
Looks like we're stuck here. Could be here for a while.
The door closed.
Is it getting hot in here? Jeez, we should take off our clothes.
Yeah.
By the way, you want to see my penis. So So everybody's focused on this button being something that he deviously installed, right? But I heard on the radio this morning from a security expert that a lot of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and especially media personalities and stuff have these as security measures, so that if someone calls up to the office that a stalker or someone that hates them or is like crazy in love with them is on the premises, they could say, hey, hit that button real quick until we figure out what the heck is going on, you know? So this isn't something that was deviously installed.
Yeah. But it was deviously abused.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I just, I see some Dr. Evil's crap going through my mind with Matt Lauer now. Do you know how old he is? He's in his 60s.
Man.
First of all, I grew up on him and Katie Couric. I think I've mentioned that in the past. I hate them both now.
Yeah.
Like they had such a unfun personality when they were on the Today Show together back in the 90s.
Yep.
But in the 2000s, when everyone went politically biased with their opinion, they just turned into these cranky bastards that just had a bent against conservative people.
Yep.
You know, look at Katie Couric's interview with Sarah Palin. Like, again, Sarah Palin didn't come off as the smartest person, but Couric was just nasty to her.
Yep.
You know, Matt Lauer, there's been for years rumors going around that he worked his way up so much the ladder there in regards to respect around there and this power trip that there was one incident where it was April Fool's Day. Mm-hmm. This was within the last couple of years. And someone put a plate of Oreos out for the anchors, and instead of the Oreo filling, it was toothpaste. One of the staffers notified him before he took a bite so that he wouldn't get pissed off and walk off set.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe we shouldn't have been so surprised with the sexual allegations against him, because there's actually some stuff out there that maybe we should have seen this coming.
Co-hosted the Today Show with Matt Lauer for 15 years. What is Matt's most annoying habit?
He pinches me on the ass a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm going.
Pretty sweater. Keep bending over like that. It's a nice view.
What? He has a thing for butts. He's a butt guy.
Yeah. He's a butt guy.
So is Al Franken, apparently.
Yep.
These guys are butt guys and they like to show their junk.
Yep.
I don't know. Well, Franken, to be fair, Franken did take a picture of groping the breasts.
Yeah. That's some locker room talk if I ever heard it.
Yeah. Seriously. And not man to man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could hear on the live stream here. I'll include it in the YouTube version, but basically they were between
takes
or whatever,
commercial break or something.
And the woman was bending over in front of him doing something. He's like, keep bending over. I like the view.
Yeah. Did he say something about a sweater?
Yeah, nice sweater. Yeah, nice.
So what I'm thinking was maybe he's not a butt guy. Maybe he's a boob guy. Maybe it's like a low cut sweater and she's bending down in front of him. You know what I mean? Nice sweater. Keep bending over. I like the view.
That's true. Yeah. You never know.
Never know.
Can't know unless we.
He's a button guy. We know that.
Yeah. Different butt.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. So obviously, to make things even more uncomfortable in regards to Matt Lauer, though, he also did an interview with Bill O'Reilly recently, this year.
Yeah.
Because Bill O'Reilly was fired over sexual misconduct in the workplace, too. That hasn't even been proven because it's more of a media blitz on the advertisers with Media Matters and the Bonner Group and everything. Mm-hmm. And he can't even talk about those cases until they're resolved in the courts. I didn't leave in Bill O'Reilly's answers because you can watch a full interview anytime that you want on YouTube. But let's take a look at some of the questions that Lauer asked of Bill O'Reilly that maybe he's regretting today.
Mm-hmm. I want to put this in perspective timing-wise. You were fired about 10 months after Roger Ailes was let go by the network over allegations of sexual harassment. So the network understood the subject matter. You were probably the last guy in the world that they wanted to fire because you were the guy that the ratings and the revenues were built on. You carried that network on your shoulders for a lot of years. So doesn't it seem safe to assume that the people at Fox News were given a piece of information or given some evidence that simply made it impossible for you to stay on at Fox News? But you don't let your number one guy go unless you have information that you think makes him.
That's not a decision.
Did you ever send a lewd text or email to another employee at Fox News?
No. Fiction. They don't look for the truth.
But think about those 5 women and what they did. They came forward and filed complaints against the biggest star at the network they worked at. Think of how intimidating that must have been, how nerve-wracking that must have been. Doesn't that tell you how strongly they felt about the way they were treated by you? Over the last 6 months since your firing, have you done some soul searching? Have you done some self-reflection? And have you looked at the way you treated women that you think now or think about differently now than you did at the time?
Wow. Pretty amazing right there. Have you done any self-reflection? Obviously, Matt Lauer, that's, again, this comes back to this power trip that these people have, which is, I'm not going to get caught.
Yeah.
That's the end result. In the back of their head, they're like, they're not even thinking that I'm guilty of this same type of thing. They're just thinking, because it's the Al Franken thing, right? I have a different perspective. They wanted it. They wanted it.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
No. They just think they want it. Like,
so you're looking up stuff.
I'm trying to see if Bill O'Reilly has since responded to or commented on the news about Matt Lauer. Because that would be, I'd be curious to see that. But
you were on his Twitter?
He was really talking about the Kate Steinle decision, which I'm sure you heard about.
Kate Steinle?
Yeah.
Refresh me on who that is.
Kate Steinle is the girl that was shot in 2015 by an
California
undocumented immigrant. You heard what happened?
No.
The case ended today. The guy was found not guilty on all 3 counts: murder, manslaughter, everything, all not guilty. Then the lawyer for him comes out and is like, let me just say that to anybody that wants to comment on this, or the president, if they want to comment on this, just remember that you're under investigation too, so you should probably think twice, blah, blah. So but this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. It's awful. I feel real bad for her family.
Wow.
That justice
in case you don't know what happened there, Kate Steinle went down to the pier in California to go out for a walk with her father, and right as they went out onto the pier, this illegal immigrant shot her in the head. I believe it was. And the city basically protected him as a sanctuary city. And now they're finding him not guilty, and he's just going to roam free, still as an illegal citizen.
Someone who's been deported 5 times and apparently was in the system to be deported again a 6th.
Was he part of that gang?
Gang of 8? No. I don't know.
MS-13.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was.
Yeah.
It was a really nasty group. That's
So, and it
was off topic. It was that's horrible.
Yeah, it was I mean, he was charged with. I mean, there were different things, like not even manslaughter. Like even if it was an accident or whatever.
Yeah, second degree or something.
Yeah, and apparently
because he even said, I think he even admitted that he fired off and not knowing where it would go.
Basically, from what I heard from the reporter, what the main defense was that that gun, like, he didn't know what it was. It was like wrapped. He like on a bench. He picked it up, and apparently it was set to like a hair trigger, where even the slightest press or whatever, and it didn't know, and it went off, and it ricocheted, and then I saw it, and the guy was just like, "That's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." You know,
that is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very, very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so in regards to Matt Lauer and Bill O'Reilly, Matt Lauer just laid into Bill O'Reilly for basically all the same stuff that he was doing, except there's evidence that Matt Lauer was doing it, which is the biggest difference here. So the whole innocent until proven guilty is now
proven guilty.
It's proven for Matt Lauer, but it's not for Bill O'Reilly. Right?
Yeah.
So who really came out on top on that one? No pun intended.
It is crazy.
So in our main topic for tonight, which is going to
don't let your number one guy go unless you have information.
Exactly.
Makes it. Oh man.
Yep. There you go.
Crazy.
In our main topic, it's just going to be your favorite.
Yeah.
The press blasted Trump for his Pocahontas reference, but ignored Warren's cultural appropriation. President Trump sent the mainstream media into a tizzy on Monday when he referred to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas, but liberal broadcasters rarely explain the background of falsehoods that resulted in the Massachusetts Democrats' nickname. Pundits and reporters were quick to label Trump's comment a racial slur. Warren herself called it unfortunate, and others questioned the president using the term during an Oval Office event to honor the work of Navajo code talkers during World War II. But here's what I find fascinating. They call it, and she called it a racial slur.
Yeah.
Well,
the only people that
Sky
are offended
News
seem to be like white people.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's take that a step further. Maybe Indians or Native Americans would be offended by
indigenous
it.
people.
Indigenous people, is that what it is now?
Yeah, that's
okay. Or soon it'll be the Americans.
They never called it America.
Yeah.
There are indigenous peoples to this land.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe they would be offended, right?
Yeah.
Racial slur? I don't know. That's not a slur. That's a name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So who would we go to find out if this is really offensive?
Probably to an indigenous person.
What if I told you that they went to a descendant of Pocahontas herself?
That would be the indigenous person.
I mean, they had to contact her via smoke signal first to get in touch with her. But...
no, you didn't go.
But so Sky News actually interviewed her.
Yeah.
This woman who's a descendant of Pocahontas.
That's awesome.
And guess what? She is super offended that they would consider it offensive. She actually said that according to Sky News, Debbie White Dove Pareco isn't taking any offense to Trump's name for Warren, and she's an actual descendant of Pocahontas herself. In fact, not only is she not taking offense, she looks at Trump as a hero.
She said that Pocahontas would be super proud of President Trump.
She said, I know that he uses Pocahontas sometimes with Elizabeth Warren. He said, well, does that offend you when I use that? And I told him, no, it doesn't offend me.
Did you hear what, you know how in that, when he was honoring the Navajo code talkers, there were two of them there? Did you hear what the one said?
No.
He said... Well, I didn't get the joke at first. I
didn't hear this at all, so I'm interested.
So, but when someone explained it to me, I wasn't offended. He goes, I wasn't offended at that. When I was a Marine, they made me yell Geronimo. I wasn't offended at that either. This old man said that. I was like, oh my god,
one of the code talkers?
Yes. Yeah,
wow.
It was one of the guys that was there. It's like, I wasn't offended at the Pocahontas thing. When I was a Marine, they made me yell Geronimo. I wasn't offended at that either.
And right there is liberals being offended for people who aren't even offended.
Yep.
Right there for you.
Yep. The only indigenous person offended is Elizabeth Warren.
Yes. So
possibly 0.0003% indigenous person.
The harshest criticism of Warren's misleading past came from ABC and NBC, which both used the same term and simply said she came under fire for claiming Native American heritage. Newsbusters' Nicholas Fondacaro wrote that I'm getting better at these names, by the way.
Good job.
That the three networks failed to do their due diligence and fully cover the origin of Trump's criticism, and were more eager to slam their favorite punching bag, President Trump, when given the low-hanging fruit. The truth is, Warren is probably not Native American, but claimed that she was to advance her academic career, which eventually landed her a gig at the prestigious Harvard Law School. The university even promoted Warren as a Native American faculty member back in 1996 in a Harvard Crimson piece on diversity on the campus. The Boston Herald eventually revealed that Warren claimed to be Native American in 2012 when she was in the midst of a Senate race and it became a subject of great controversy. Warren regularly dodged questions about the subject at the time. She claims that she never furthered her career by using her heritage as an advantage, but many critics disagree with the potential 2020 Democratic presidential candidate. She has offered ridiculous excuses such as listing herself as Native American in order to get invited to a luncheon and because her grandfather had high cheekbones.
Oh, man.
Wow. So, listen, why does any application or anything have that you write down your ethnicity?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's to categorize and promote in a way, right? So it's like what you were talking about earlier about affirmative action type things. Like, she used it as leverage to get a position possibly over other candidates.
Yeah.
That's what happened. She leveraged this to her advantage when she has no Native American background or indigenous people background. Whatever.
Thank you.
So,
crazy.
New allegations have risen, though. This is my favorite part. In regards to Warren, the Massachusetts senator, she's in hot water again after new allegations have surfaced that she plagiarized her Cherokee recipes in the book Pow Wow Chow from the New York Times and other publications. So radio talk show host Howie Carr released damning evidence that appears to confirm that Mrs. Warren's recipes weren't handed down from generation to generation. They were picked up in the newspaper.
So they were handed down from someone else's generation, their generation.
Through editorials.
Yeah.
The 1984 cookbook Pow Wow Chow was edited by Mrs. Warren's cousin, Candy Rousey, and is billed as a collection of recipes from the 5 civilized tribes. Mrs. Warren's recipes are featured alongside her mother's directions for sugar cake and her 2 children's recipe for peach cobbler. Mrs. Warren's recipes include herb tomatoes and a crab with a tomato mayonnaise dressing, among other dishes. But it appears that at least 3 of the 5 recipes featured in the book were fakes, according to an investigation by Mr. Carr. The 2 recipes for crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing and cold omelets with crab meat appear to be word-for-word copies of a French chef's design. Word for word. Okay?
Nice. Not even indigenous.
It's
French.
pretty bad. So, here's where it gets tricky. I'm going to try to play just the audio from The Daily Show.
Yep.
Because we've gotten cut off in our broadcast in the past by using The Daily Show's clips.
Yep.
So, let's see if I can actually pull this up and get it going right here. But here's the point. Of all the champions of the left in the media, The Daily Show will go out of their way to come up with BS excuses to support someone that's being attacked on the left.
Yep.
And Elizabeth Warren is a darling on the left.
Oh, yeah.
They love her.
Yep.
She, as far as they're concerned, she is the next president. As long as Hillary doesn't run again.
Right.
Right. So, let's see what Trevor Noah of The Daily Show had to say about her.
Obviously, Elizabeth Warren doesn't like being called Pocahontas, which is why yesterday she hit back.
It is deeply unfortunate that the President of the United States cannot even make it through a ceremony honoring these heroes without having to throw out a racial slur. Look, Donald Trump does this over and over, thinking somehow he's going to shut me up with it. It hadn't worked in the past. It is not going to work in the future.
Wow, damn. Damn, yeah. That was powerful. And I know that Elizabeth Warren thinks that's a rebuke, but I bet Donald Trump just sees that as an invitation. You know, it's just like, say all the racist slurs you want, Donald Trump. Yay! But you know, this whole beef between Donald Trump and Elizabeth Warren is a tricky one to process. Because all the other nicknames that he uses on other people are self-explanatory, right? Like low-energy Jeb. The man doesn't excite anybody. Little Marco, he looks like a little boy. Lying Ted, he says he's human, right? We see you, fish boy. But when he says Pocahontas, you might be thinking, wait, Trevor, I'm confused. Is Elizabeth Warren Native American? And you see, that's the question. Because for a long time, she said she was.
Warren came under fire in 2012 for claiming, without any proof, to have Native American heritage.
From 1986 to 1995, she listed herself as a minority in the Association of American Law Schools directory.
In fact, when Warren was a Harvard law professor, the university was criticized for not having enough diversity on the faculty, so the school defended itself by touting Warren's lineage.
Wow. How white is your college that when you get called out for being too white, your response is, "Nuh-uh, we got her." Yo, Elizabeth, come on out here and show these white folks what it is. Now, the way Warren tells the story is that it's been part of her family law for decades, that they have some Native American ancestry. And while listing it in the law school directory might have hypothetically helped her career, there's no hard evidence that Warren used it to get any jobs. Though it's not like she got no benefits out of it.
In 1984, Elizabeth Warren contributed recipes to a Native American cookbook called Pow Wow Chow, claiming she was Cherokee.
Wow, okay. If you're contributing recipes to a book called Pow Wow Chow, you better be comfortable in your Native American identity. The problem is, in 2012, the New England Historical Genealogical Society looked into it, and they found no proof of Warren having Native American lineage, which is problematic, because she wrote for Pow Wow Chow. I mean, that would be like finding out I'm completely white, I have no African blood, and yet I wrote the book Snacks for Blacks. Which is a bestseller, by the way. Please, go out and buy it.
A couple interesting things about that. Number one, Trevor Noah lays into her about what's going on here. Mm-hmm. He is saying this woman is culturally appropriating a culture that she has no right to do, right? Yep. Here's the other thing that I find very interesting. Not only is he calling her out on this BS, what did you well, let me ask you this. Did you notice anything interesting about the clips that he was playing?
What, of her?
Of just the clips that he kept on cutting to.
No.
They were all Fox News.
Oh, okay.
And what I found really interesting about that, Trevor Noah is known for using Fox News clips to rip into the hosts and subject matter at Fox News. Mm-hmm. They were using those as reference on this video.
Yep.
On this clip, right?
Probably because there was no reference from
any other source.
Any other source, yeah.
That's my point. The only clips they had were all Fox News clips because no other media sources is stepping up to the plate and actually running this kind of stuff on Elizabeth Warren. Pretty amazing.
Yep.
And not only that they're not ripping into Fox at all.
Yep.
On this whole clip. Now, again, this is like the other one that we went over before. This is just a partial of that clip. But I found it amazing because you're not going to see any of our liberal friends posting that clip attacking Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. You know, Trevor Noah, you mentioned it too. How funny is it that everyone in the crowd is laughing along at first until he starts laying into her?
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh, what should we do here? I don't know what to do with my laugh.
The sheep don't know what to do. No.
Bah.
Yeah, this happened a while ago, too, with Colbert. Remember? It was like one of the first nights I did the podcast with you.
Yes.
Something
what was that?
Where, I don't remember what it was about, but like the crowd started clapping at something they weren't supposed to clap at.
Yes. Oh, yeah, because he was laying into one of the appointees.
Yeah.
But it was Comey.
Yep.
He was like, Comey's on our side now, actually. Because no one knows where he was at the time.
That's right, yeah.
It was crazy. So
wow, she really told Trump. Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, hang on a second. Let's pump the brakes.
Yeah.
This lady's
calm
kind
down.
Of a moron.
The light didn't go off for the applause.
Yeah. What are you guys doing?
All right? You didn't get your cue card. So Elizabeth Warren right now is just getting spread on thick with the Native American Pocahontas references, and it's blowing up in her face because now when you don't have Trevor Noah and the Daily Show on your side, you've lost it.
Yeah.
And it's what I keep on telling you. I mean, I'm not going to go into my marketing idea that we've talked about in the past, but that's where our generation and younger are going for their news. They're not going to CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, and the Huffington Post. They're going to the Daily Show. They have been for years. You know? So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Elizabeth Warren because we'll see.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's... I'm still upset that I didn't do the Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Just that lady's pantsuit, glasses, and then headdress, Indian headdress with war paint. I'm Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. So, anything else going on that I didn't point out at all from the past couple weeks of news?
I mean, who else is going to get thrown under the sexual harassment train?
I think we have Geraldo Rivera's up on the board.
Up next. We didn't talk about Russell Simmons. That was today.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was accused of exactly, but he had to step down from his company.
You know what's weird is the fact that right in the midst of all this, Keith Olbermann finally just quit.
Yeah, that was during the Pocahontas thing, wasn't it? That's it. I'm done. I'm gonna.
Do you think maybe he
get out of my mom's basement making GQ videos on YouTube?
Do you think maybe he felt like he was up next, maybe in the sexual allegations stuff?
That would be.
I mean, it wouldn't be awesome for the women that
no, but it would be awesome for their accuser finally have a spotlight shined on them. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
He would get more attention than he ever got before.
Yeah. Oh my God, he is something else.
Yeah. Oh, he's horrible.
Yeah.
So who else is there? Top news people. I mean,
yeah.
First of all, like I said, DC is going to be going downhill big time, and we might be seeing people resigning left and right in their positions of power.
Yep.
So, it should be interesting.
Yep.
All good?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, everyone, I appreciate you tuning in tonight and catching the podcast. Once again, I would encourage you to head over to the Generation Y Conservative fan page on Facebook. Hit the like button and also hit the get notifications so you know when we're going live. You can listen to this broadcast again on Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. on KLRN Internet Radio. If you tune into their site at that point in time, they've also put me on iTunes, so you can also download or subscribe to the podcast on the iTunes podcast store. You can follow along and see all of our HD video and audio videos, which include the podcast, as well as bits and pieces from the podcast, and movie reviews on the YouTube channel. Just search for the Generation Y Conservative, hit subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified when we publish a video. Also, if you want to interact more, you can go onto Twitter and follow along there at Gen Y Conservative without the E on the end. And we're probably going to be here over the winter months, I would imagine, doing the show from here. And there's a better internet connection. Maybe you're noticing that tonight.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that we're going to start working on, if Mike here is up for it, is I think we're going to set up a Skype account and try to take some people calling in and see what happens there.
There we go.
So I will get on that and start setting that up. In the meantime, get involved in the comments section and stuff. We always read off the comments. He had his computer open tonight for comments to see if anything came in. But we would love to have more interactiveness on the show.
Yep.
Also, by the way, and I'm just going to throw this out there, if you're interested in an affiliate type program and want to advertise on the show, certainly send me a message on the Facebook page, and we'll work that out with you as well then too. So in the meantime, we will see you guys next week on the podcast. Again, follow along on the Facebook page so that you know when we're going live with it. Otherwise, everything, at least the audio version, is uploaded by Sunday. Have a great week, have a great night, and God bless America.